Welcome back to the Rip City Rundown podcast. This is episode 6, and it's playoff time. The Portland Trail Blazers are the 6th seed, facing off against, you guessed it, the Denver Nuggets, and they are the 3 seed. Now, last night, we needed a lot of things to go our way. We were intently watching the games, and it is kind of crazy how almost everything went right for us, I must say.
Yeah, I mean, if you were listening to the podcast last episode, you saw us watching the Lakers game. We were a little disappointed they
beat the Pacers.
But we were just like that last night. Had a nice little four monitor setup.
We
all
did.
Games on.
We did.
Slowly, once the game started finishing and dwindling down, we were really focusing on that Thunder game. Shout out Poku.
Yes.
Shout out who else? I don't know.
Serbian
Justin Hall maybe.
It was the Thunder and Clippers game last night. That had to be one of the worst basketball I've watched in a while, but the fact that the Thunder, 1-23 since the start of April, can pull it out against the Clippers. I know they're resting literally the entire team except for Luke Kennard. But even the Thunder were resting people as well. But the fact that the Thunder pulled it out against the Clippers just proves that, luck was on our side last night. And the fact that we are the 6th seed playing Denver, which was about the... I don't want to, be like root to get a team, because that's what we did in 2018 and New Orleans swept us. At least that's what I did. So I'm not going to say I wanted to play Denver, but out of those teams in the top 4,
we wanted to play Denver.
Now, I don't want to eat my words and lose again, just like we did against Pelicans. But yes, we wanted Denver. And a lot of people last night were a little confused with the 3-way tie.
That was very annoying because, obviously, we run this Rip City Rundown Instagram, and we post the final score and how we're playing against the Nuggets now. We just got a bunch of you commenting that we're going to play the Clippers. You got to understand the scenarios,
Yes. That is true. But at the same time, I do understand because we do have the head-to-head against Dallas. And, for those of you that still don't know, and most of you probably know by now, it goes to the division champs. So obviously Mavericks, Trailblazers, and Lakers all in 3 different divisions out west, but Dallas in the Southwest Division, I believe. Yeah. They won their division over, it would have been Memphis was next closest.
How would they do it if, say we were in the same division as Dallas, would it probably just go back to head-to-head? Because...
Yeah, they have a total list of criteria of most importantly. I would assume head-to-head. Now, a lot of people were complaining, if this was, if it didn't work out for us, I'd have been like, the division champion over head-to-head. It's dumb, but in this case, it worked out, so no one needs to complain. We are playing Denver, who we've had their number. And honestly, let's just jump into that series really quick. So Denver, the 3 seed, they get home court. We're going to have to go in altitude. We did it 2 years ago, though, with a banged-up center in his canner and with Ramadan.
If Nuggets fans try to use the Jamal Murray injury as an excuse for us losing, you can't, because we had the same issue with Nurkic back in 2019. So it's fair and square here. I'm not saying we're going to beat the Nuggets by far, but it is split on the betting favorites,
which
50-50.
Yeah, so we did see Game 1. Denver was favored by, I think it was 2.5, and they usually give about give a couple points to the home team. So that just shows that Vegas sees this as a toss-up, which is nice. Now, with Jamal Murray, I think Denver's the favorite for sure. But, and I was talking earlier off the podcast about this, is that how, compared to 2019, I think the Nuggets are a worse team. Obviously, with Jamal Murray hurt, but I think they are a worse team. No Jeremy Grant, no Gary Harris. Paul Millsap is older. He's aging. Their starting guard is Campazzo, who is, 5'9"?
Yeah, I agree with that. Slightly. I think that
Barton is banged up right now. They have no Torrey Craig.
I don't want to say they're worse than they were last time. I would say, their depth is lacking a lot more.
I think so are the Blazers. The Blazers' depth is not as good as 2019, but the starting 5 is significantly better.
Yeah, you would say the same about the Nuggets if they had Jamal Murray, but I think Jokic has improved a ton
Agree.
since then.
Agree.
Michael Porter Jr. wasn't on that team.
Yep, he was on that. You remember, he actually was on that team, and because in Game 5, when Denver won in Game 5, he shot the bird.
Aaron Gordon.
He's a sleeper on this one.
They have guys.
Not a lot of people are talking about Aaron Gordon.
Their guards just don't match up at all with ours.
No.
What were you going to say about Aaron Gordon?
With Aaron Gordon, I was going to say, so I was, going through ESPN earlier. They dropped their everything you need to know about the playoffs and whatnot. But they were talking about like the key matchups for each series, and the Blazers one is going to be the Blazer guards against Aaron Gordon and whoever is guarding whoever is guarding the roll man in the pick and roll. If Aaron Gordon cannot keep Dame in front of him, they can't trap Dame. The Blazers are going to win the series because Damian Lillard coming off screens, if he can get either to the hole and then dish, and the other key thing that people tend to forget about is we now have Norman Powell in the corner instead of Aminu and Harkless.
Yeah, that's huge.
That's huge, especially in the playoffs when they're going to trap Dame.
Covington is a 40
and Covington.
Shooter, despite him being
I know a little sore spot with Roka after the 2 missed free throws
But
against Phoenix.
We're glad he did it now because we would have been the
That is true. It's crazy how it works out like that. But I did see how Aaron Gordon is going to be a key factor. And on the other side, it's going to be can Mike Porter Jr. shoot efficiently and well enough, and they're going to need Barton to fill the Jamal Murray void. He probably will.
He's going to have one of those games where he's going to go off. Jokic is going to consistently do his thing. I do think Nurkic can slow him down to what he normally does.
He's going to force Jokic to the perimeter more, I think, because Nurkic, he's going to bang with him down low.
I don't know what the X factor of the series is. I mean, for us, in the past, we've seen the Nuggets and Michael Malone throw up some good game plans against Dame because he did struggle a little bit in that last series. But obviously, he's grown as a player, and the surrounding shooters are much better this year. So, I mean, if we can just play some good defense, and going back to that article, we actually have the 12th best defense since April 27th. That's a small sample size. It's about 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
And first in offensive rating.
So
we are an
we're
offensive
juggernaut
juggernaut
now. I mean, Powell has been huge on defense. We're improving. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I agree. I don't want to. I might be wrong here, but I believe last time I checked, we were 3rd or 4th in net rating, which is like you combine it, which doesn't make a lot of sense. If you're 1st and 12th, I thought you average it to 6th, but I did see somewhere that we're in the top 5 in net rating.
Is that for the full season or like?
That was since April 1st or something.
I would think so. But
yeah, it will be interesting to see who the X factor is in this series. I could see it being the Blazer bench or the Nuggets bench. Can Carmelo Anthony come in and obviously his defense is going to be weak, but he can average it out with an efficient offensive night. Same with Cantor. I will be okay with Cantor having a couple bad defensive possessions if it means he gives the Blazers a couple extra chances on the offensive glass.
Yeah, I mean, if that Melo and Cantor lineup can really lock or just give effort defensively.
If Stotz can find a way
we're talking
to stagger him.
We're talking about a coach of the month here in Stotz.
Yeah, I know. We can touch on that real quick if you want.
I mean, we can real quick. Saw a lot of people on social media kind of saying like, "Oh, so Damian Lillard won Coach of the Month."
That's pretty funny.
But lay off on Stotz. He's didn't have the best defensive roster. He's thrown up some bad game plans. Yes, he's questionable, but this playoffs will be telling to see if we should.
I also think a lot of the fans, including me at points, he's on such a short leash. Like at least to the fans, maybe not to the actual team. Neil Olshey is not going to be like, Terry, you're on a short leash. You lose 3 games in a row, you're out. But the fans are like, every problem with the team is blamed on Stotz this year. And I think it comes from a lack of playoff success. And to be honest, when was the last time the Blazers had a fully healthy season? Basically a fully healthy season. I know that Mitchell and Conley missed even Phoenix, Booker, Paul, DeAndre Ayton missed 1 game and it was against us. Or he maybe missed the last couple games too. But a lot of the teams have been very healthy. The Blazers weren't.
I mean, this is the first time we're going into the playoffs at full
pretty
strength,
healthy, yep.
Like since 2018. And I mean, Dame.
But yes.
Ever since that 2018 series against the Pelicans, Dame's been a different player. So.
Terry Stotz is named Western Conference Coach of the Month. Good for him. The Blazers went 7-2.
And Dame was named Player of the Week.
And Dame was named Player of the Week as well. Another thing I think is going to be important in the Denver and Portland series is where we have our top 7, Cantor and Melo off the bench. Now,
I think Simons gets his minutes.
Simons, I think, will get some run, but I think also Stotz is known to shorten his rotations in the playoffs. I don't think Simons is going to play as much, unless he's cooking on the offensive end. Obviously, that's where he brings his value. But, a lot of people are like, the Blazers don't have depth. But, again, I will not be mad if you throw out Derek Jones Jr., Rondae Hollis-Jefferson, and Nasir Little for some defensive work. We have defensive wings.
I think we just have to keep 2 of the 3 guards on the floor at all times.
Oh, for sure. You have to keep 3 of
3 of the starters, right?
Three of the 4. So, and by the 4 I mean the 3 guards and Rocco. You got to have 3 of them because you can't have Derrick Jones Jr. and Little as your 2 forwards.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to have a Rocco or Powell.
We always want to keep the shooting, keep them honest. I mean, Denver is not the best defensive team, but they have a good defensive scheme. They don't really have the talent to do that. Michael Porter Jr. is not too good on defense. Campazzo is just a pest.
So the starting starting lineup for Denver is going to be Campazzo.
Should be Barton if he's healthy, but if he's not back,
who is it? Monte Morris?
I think it would be Monte.
You cannot have it's 200 size guards.
I hate to be overconfident, but just on paper they
the
have
real
Jokic.
I
think Michael Porter Jr. is a little overrated.
Well, the thing is who has the best player in this series? That's really tough because Jokic is going to win MVP.
You have to say Jokic, but then again, you could say Dame because Dame doesn't have people that are going to stop him. I don't think they have anybody that can stop him.
True,
but
it's going to be Campazzo, and we'll say Will Barton plays Michael Porter Jr.
I keep forgetting about
Aaron Gordon, and Jokic. Obviously, Jokic and Nurk, Dame and Campazzo. Actually, they'll probably put Barton on Dame. Campazzo is a defensive liability. He's small. He's a pest. He's probably a decent defender, but he's small. And then I did see that they will probably be going Norman Powell on Aaron Gordon and Rocco on Michael Porter Jr.
I like that.
So one way the Nuggets can attack the Blazers is through Gordon on Powell just from size. But then the Blazers can also combat that with small ball.
Austin Rivers could also be the starter.
Austin Rivers as well, a journeyman. And Paul Millsap off the bench. I mean, the Nuggets are the 3 seed for a reason.
JaMychal Green can knock down some triples.
Yeah, JaMychal Green's underrated. He could be an X factor. I mean, the Nuggets are not a bad team.
There's a reason this series is a 50-50 toss-up right now.
For sure.
Because, I think this is the most even series in the playoffs.
I agree as well. Let's just look along to the other playoff games. So obviously the play-in, you have the Eastern Conference tomorrow. We're recording this as of Monday night.
So Eastern. Want to say who you think, or do we even care about the Eastern Conference here?
I think Charlotte and Washington wins.
With no JV.
I think, but for it'll be interesting to see what the plan. And then for the West, I think Memphis will win, but Golden State and LA. Now that game is important for Blazer fans. Now again, you don't want to look too far ahead, but if the Lakers lose to the Warriors, that puts the Lakers on the other side of the Western Conference bracket with the Clippers and the Jazz, which would be quite an accomplishment for the Blazers. That it basically would put, to get to the Western Conference Finals, you would have to beat Denver and then either Phoenix or Golden State. Now, again, the Lakers could get the 7 and very easily lose to Phoenix. Phoenix is a very good team. Don't get me wrong. But, and you don't want to look ahead. But if you told me we have to beat Phoenix to get to the Western Conference Finals, I will take that chance.
I would be on the fence with you just because.
Interesting. So you would rather play the Lakers?
Oh, no. I'm just saying if we would beat Phoenix.
Oh, I'm not saying I'm not saying we're gonna beat Phoenix. I'm saying I would rather play Phoenix than the Jazz. Phoenix is the easiest second round opponent, I think.
I think they are too.
Unless there's a huge upset. But I was also talking about this earlier. Is that the Phoenix and Blazer game from 2 nights ago felt like, or maybe it's 3 nights ago at this point, felt like a playoff game. Yeah, it really felt like a playoff game. And it was super tight, and that's if they went and played a 7-game series, I expect it to be like that every night. Because from that game, Devin Booker played very poorly by his standards, but man, did the Phoenix bench play like Cameron Payne on 21 on immaculate shooting. It was really dumb. It was heartbreaking to watch as a Blazer fan. Who else had a fantastic game? Torrey Craig, the guy on Denver that he had a fantastic performance off the bench. And the Blazers played well. McCollum and Dame did their thing. But I just expect this. I don't know. I expect this game to be a benchmark for how the series would go. Like, I think the Blazers and Suns are very even. I think the Suns, Chris Paul is such a huge add for them. I'm not very high on Devin Booker. I don't like Devin Booker that much. He's a very good player. But I think Chris Paul is the X factor in that series. But we're not going to look ahead. That's just hypotheticals. Let's just run through the Western Conference. So you would say you'll take the Lakers or the Warriors in that playing game for the 7th seed?
You mean you just take the Lakers?
Okay.
Unless Steph Curry. Everyone's saying Steph Curry.
You're taking the Lakers.
I'm taking the Lakers.
Okay, I'll
also taking the Grizzlies.
But Warriors to beat the Grizzlies.
Warriors with the 8th seed.
Okay, so Utah and the Warriors. We'll do this. Just give me your prediction and how many games Utah and the Warriors.
Probably Utah in like 5.
That's what I would say too. I say Utah in 5.
Curry's
good enough to win a game. Curry won a game. Give me the Suns and the Lakers. This would be the best first round matchup.
I'm taking Lakers in like 6 or 7. Probably 6.
I might take Suns in 7.
Just because down the stretch, and Anthony Davis has looked really good in the past week. And then before LeBron and AD were out, they had the number 1 defense in the league. And then if LeBron's healthy and
it's interesting because AD will be that X factor because Mikal Bridges is long enough to disrupt LeBron, and also think Chris Paul is a savvy enough defender to guard Dennis Schroeder.
I do think Chris Paul is a player that like LeBron is like up here.
Yeah, and Chris Paul is right there.
Chris Paul
IQ level,
IQ
wise,
playoff, just knows what he's doing.
His just knowledge of the game.
He's a similar.
That'd be such a good series.
Type of guy with.
I would go Phoenix in 7. I don't know.
And then,
that's true. That's championship experience against evergreen players right there. I mean, that's the Suns with no experience. That's crazy.
Do we want to throw a prediction on the Blazers?
Blazers series. Okay, obviously Blazers podcast. I'm gonna pick the Blazers.
Same.
I'll go Blazers. 4. I'll go Blazers in 6.
I'll go 4.
You think the Blazers sweet?
I'm kidding. It's probably 7.
I was talking about this with my.
I don't know, 6, 7.
I was talking about this with my friend Cash. A little earlier. He was saying he's also a diehard Blazer fan. He was saying Blazers in 5, and I was like, "Do you really think we could close them out on their floor?" And he was like, "Yes," and I was like, "I don't think so." But again, I don't want to really make a prediction on that series. If I had to, just because I'm a Blazer fan, I'd say Blazers in 6, but Denver could also easily win in 6. I do think this series goes to 6 or 7, though, for sure.
If we were to win this series, would you call it a successful season, or do you think we need to like really push the next round and make a push for the Western Conference Finals?
It depends on who we play. If we play the Suns, I think anything less than a Game 7 against the Suns in the second round is a failure. If we lose to the Lakers, I understand. Their championship experience. Okay. Last one, Clippers and Mavs.
I think you just take the Clippers. I would go like 5.
Clippers in 5.
Because Kristaps Porzingis was the main reason the Mavericks were playing the Clippers so well this year, and he's just not been that good this year. I don't think Luka is enough to carry, unless Tim Hardaway Jr.
Let's talk about the Clippers for a second. So they last 2 games of the season they play the Rockets and they play the Thunder, and they lose both. No one saw that coming.
I'm not mad at them because obviously it helped us out, but in my opinion, it sends a bad message because you want to knock off the Lakers and be the kings of LA and all this, but you try to avoid LA.
I think it's smart, to be honest.
It's in the end, like we could look at this a month down the road and be like, that was a really savvy move to not have to play the Lakers and possibly avoid them the entire playoffs if they get not bounced early. But
I mean, the Lakers are a weird team this year because they have LeBron and AD, but they have not been healthy. They haven't been able to build chemistry. Last year, they relied on getting the ball. They just hammered you inside. Absolutely hammered you inside. They lose JaVale McGee. They lose Dwight Howard. Not great players, but key to their identity.
And Rondo.
Rondo's now still in LA just for the Clippers.
Schroeder's a better player, but for the playoffs, I would rather Rondo.
Avery Bradley's not there.
Yeah,
they have KCP and Kuzma. And Kuzma is just, I don't think he's good enough to be the third guy, especially behind LeBron and AD. So the Lakers could very easily, I'm not going to say easily, but there is a possibility they could fall to the 8th seed. Even worse, Memphis beats them, and the Lakers are knocked out of the playoffs entirely. That would be fantastic. Will that happen? Absolutely probably not. LeBron James is on that team. But I don't know. I do think the Clippers were smart to avoid the Lakers. And also you have Kawhi Leonard, who's literally the king of load management, so it's not like he was going to probably play anyway.
It was just
now resting your top 7 guys. They benched everyone.
And still lost to the Thunder, who also benched
everyone.
Rockets.
Yeah,
I mean, you wouldn't have thought that looking back. Look, if you told me that 2 weeks ago.
And they got a lot of negative negative response to that, and they were like, "Why would you tank? Why would you try to avoid the Lakers? You're trying to like game the seedings, And that's part of it. I mean, just think about the Blazers. The Blazers we're going to rest going into 2019 playoffs. We're resting everyone. We're down 30 to the Kings, and we come back and we have to play the Thunder, and we're like, dang it, what happens? We beat them in 5. So, there's just really no,
there's no good
concrete benefit to tanking or trying to get the right seed you want.
No matter what, you're playing a good team.
Yeah, and it also sends a message to the Lakers like, all right, the Clippers they don't want to play us. I don't know. I mean, it helps us, so I'm not going to complain, but it is an interesting thought.
Can we talk about how everyone knows this by now, but Guy got his house.
Guy got his house, but the funny thing was he didn't even put up his house.
Do we know that for sure, though?
Yeah.
Dame did tweet at him, say, show me the ticket.
And the guy responded, and it was a $200 bet. The guy wanted his attention. You got your attention, dude.
It's got to be
Good
at
job.
least 4 figures if you're going to tweet something like that.
Well, the dude was like, $200, I guess. You can buy a...
Still a hefty bet.
You can buy a hotel room for that, so I guess it kind of cool. I don't know. But good for him. He got his attention. But on the ticket, it said over 41.5 wins. Obviously, the Blazers need to win 42. I just think it's funny that Dame was like bet say less, and then they do it. They go 11-2 in their final 13 games. Is that what it was? It's fantastic.
Can we talk about capacity?
Yeah.
Because in every series, that's going to be huge. I mean, ESPN dropped an article where they did put in every single, all the arena capacities.
Fan attendance.
You've got, the Bucks getting over 50%.
The Hawks near 50%.
Hawks 60-something%. I mean, there are teams out here that are going to have a major advantage with home court. I'm going to go down and see what the Nuggets have. I'm not positive. I think it was around 10%.
I think it's a little more than that.
Much. 40%.
Yeah, I knew it was up there.
When you got the altitude and 40% fans,
that's home court advantage. Now, I know the Blazers players, CJ tweeted, even Dame kind of kicked off this whole letting fans back in. They're trying to get more fans, and the Trailblazers are working on it.
I did see the original plan
was to bump it to 20, right?
I think it was a 20 or 25 by the playoffs. So we'll see if
which is good, and Portland being a city that takes it probably a little more seriously than other cities such as Atlanta or Texas, for example. Just that's kind of the way it goes. But it would be nice, just to see, still trying to keep everyone safe, within the boundaries of safety and all that, to see as many fans as possible and safely, obviously, because the Blazer players deserve that, the fans deserve that. It's been a tough year and a half. So it'd be nice to see, Moda filled up as much as it possibly can while still being safe.
We just needed to be loud. I mean, it seemed pretty loud in that last game. We had MVP chants for Dame.
That is true. Let's do a little start bench cut segment. You down?
Playoff edition.
Little playoff edition start bench cut segment.
Okay.
All right. Here we go. This is teams to make the finals. Okay. 76ers,
Okay.
Jazz, Lakers.
Okay. So obviously, just looking at the teams, you would think I would go Lakers, but they will have a tougher path. So
Jazz will probably play the Clippers in the second round.
This is really hard.
76ers are going to play the Nets in the conference finals, most likely.
I'm going to say, the Lakers still have to win the play-in. So you don't just want to throw your chips on the Lakers. I'm going to say the 76ers first. Then I'm going to go Lakers and then Jazz. I'm not saying the Jazz are worse. The Jazz are just going to have to beat the Clippers and the Lakers. And the Lakers, say the 76ers just because they'll have to beat one of the Nets or Bucks.
That's true, being the one seed.
Probably an easier second-round matchup with the Knicks and Hawks. And Embiid's been really good.
The Knicks,
Simmons
man.
plays well.
The Knicks.
They've got 76ers have players.
Interesting.
That was a tough question.
That's why I asked.
Do you want to answer that one? Or
Do I want to answer that one? Yeah, I probably agree with you. I think you should give me one.
Okay, I'll do players.
Okay.
Gotta think here though. All right. Start bench cut. Who would you want on your team to help you lead to a playoff win?
Playoff winner series.
Playoff series. Who would you want on your team right now?
Okay.
Trae Young.
Okay.
Devin Booker.
Okay.
Donovan Mitchell.
I will.
I know you have the stigma against Devin Booker, a slight one.
Start Donovan Mitchell because I think playoff experience here out of those three plays a role.
Dropped 50 last playoffs.
Yeah, I think he's kind of been in the fire in the playoffs, and they also I don't know. I just think he plays well within the Jazz. I'll bench Devin Booker, and then I'm cutting Trae Young. I do not think the Hawks are. I don't think the Hawks will beat the Knicks in the first round. I do not think the Hawks. I think Trae Young's game is a little bit still. It's obviously not one dimensional, but you can kind of corral him. I feel like you just got to trap him. He's Trae Young is kind of what
passer.
He's what Dame was. I think before the Pelican series, just a little worse, obviously. And also already has the deep range, but I don't think he's figured out how to handle traps and double teams yet. So
I'll agree with you on that one. Trae Young.
Also, not a huge fan of Trae Young.
I don't like his play style.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, let's. I'll do one. Let's go with players to win you the play-in game.
Okay, I like that.
Or actually, no. Let me reframe this question. Who do you think will have the best play-in game?
Okay.
It's not necessarily who do you want on your team, but who do you think will have the best stat line? Not necessarily stat line, just most impact, and will lead their team.
Best player.
Let's go Jason Tatum.
Okay.
We'll go Anthony Davis.
Okay.
And we will go with John Morant.
Now, are we saying for the first playing game or just the playing games?
We'll go the first.
I think the Grizzlies will win the first game.
We'll go. The whole entire play-in tournament.
That first one you said Jason Tatum.
Jason Tatum, AD, Ja. Who do you think will?
I think the safest bet is, if you're counting in wins too, is Anthony Davis. But Jason Tatum, if the Celtics win, it's going to be because of Jason Tatum.
Fair.
And then John Morant, even in the play-in last year versus the Blazers, he had a really good game. But the Spurs do have a lot of players that they could throw at him. A lot of athletic guards. DeJounte Murray.
It is interesting how literally no one talks about the Spurs. Literally no one is talking about the Spurs.
They just lost to the Suns, who were starting Javon Carter and Cameron Payne. Javon Carter almost had a triple-double. He was 1-8 down the way.
Wow.
And the Spurs were playing full strength. Okay.
Wow.
Back to the question. I'm going to go... I think Anthony Davis will have the best game. He's hot right now. I don't think... I mean, the Warriors could throw Draymond or Kevon Looney on him, but if you have Kevon Looney guarding Anthony Davis on the block or on the elbow, Anthony Davis can just rise for a jumper. He's that good. So Anthony Davis will get started. I'm going to bench Jason Tatum just because Tatum has had his cold nights, but he's going to be the only way the Celtics win. I don't have faith in Kemba Walker or anything, and Tatum can go off for 50 if he wants to. I'm going to cut John Morant, even though he has proven he can play well in the big playing games.
Interesting. That Warriors-Lakers game is going to be fantastic.
I think it's going to be the most watched game of the NBA season until the playoffs or until the finals.
It is pretty interesting because it's two players leading their teams who were literally played up met 4 years in a row. Generational talents.
That changed the game.
Two top players at their respective positions of all time.
Yeah, it'll be...
That's going to be fantastic.
I don't know if it'll live up to the hype, but it will have a lot of hype.
All right, any more? You got one more? A couple more for me? I think I could find one.
I'll do one
for
more.
I think I might be able to do one more for you.
If you have one right now, as I think, you could go ahead and throw it out there. But don't think I have one right now.
You don't have one?
I'm trying to think of something clever.
Something clever?
Don't just want to do players.
It's fine. Okay. I'll go.
You will go.
Here we go. Let's go. Start bench cut coach of the year.
Okay.
Tom Thibodeau,
Okay.
Quinn Snyder, or Monty Williams.
Okay. I'm gonna cut Quinn Snyder.
Number 1 seed, best record in the league.
Snyder. I'm gonna do it.
All right.
Just because. Actually, I don't know. Because I'm starting Tom Thibodeau.
I agree.
Because their team did not change. He came in. He implemented his philosophies. They're now the
4 seed. They get home court.
1 or 2 seed or 1 or 2 team defense in the NBA. So they're playing his brand of basketball and it's working. No roster turnover except Derrick Rose comes in. I don't know how much credit I should give Monty Williams because I think I should give him some because he's proven to be a good coach. I mean, they went 8-0 in the bubble. You can call that fluke, whatever. But a lot of that has to go on the shoulders of Chris Paul. So that's why I wouldn't start him. But that's a toss-up between the Suns and the Jazz because the Jazz also didn't have any roster turnover. turn over, but I mean,
I'd start Tom. I'd start Tom, and then I'd bench probably Monty Williams. He also taking the Suns from. Now again, just how they were like, congrats to Dame for winning Western Coach Player of the Month with Terry Stotz. It's almost like how much of this is Chris Paul. Chris Paul is basically a coach out there at this point.
Would you even put like Doc Rivers in that conversation for the Sixers? Because they looked really good this year.
The only reason why I wouldn't throw him in there is just because I feel like this is what that 76ers roster, like, their floor is a 4 seed.
Okay, I mean, yeah, they didn't jump a ton.
Yes, you're the 1 seed, but you have top 2 big in the league. Like, the Knicks, you can just see how bought in they are. Like, I watched that Suns-Lakers game, it looked like a 1990s game. Like, it was below 100, they were flying around on defense. It was a great game to watch, honestly.
Final thing we'll discuss before we end this thing.
I do have one. I do have one more start.
You can go ahead and just throw it out.
I had one more. Segment. I had one more, and then it just went away.
Wow.
So this is really frustrating, but I'm gonna figure it out because it was such a good one. I'm gonna think while you discuss.
All-NBA team. Where do you see Dame? Do you see him getting first team? Because I think Steph Curry is. I
remember it now, but no. I'll answer your question.
Because Luka Doncic is, I think, actually, there's a lot of good guards in this league. I think Steph Curry's a lock for first team. And I want to say Dame is too. But
I think Dame is going to go second team.
Behind who? Luka?
Yeah. I could also see it.
I want to say not Luka is because Luka's also eligible as a forward. So you could, if you really want to include that, like who are the other forwards in the Western Conference?
In the league?
In the NBA that deserve it over a Dame or a Luka?
Yeah, okay, so Jokic is going to get it. Giannis will get it.
And I think Giannis should get it too. But you need one more forward and one more
James
guard.
Harden can also get it.
James Harden didn't play enough games. I don't know if he can even make it.
I don't know.
Kyrie Irving went 50, 40, 90. 25
Tony
points.
Snell won 50, 100.
But I think Dame will get first team.
Interesting. I just think he gets slept on. I think he'll get second team, unfortunately.
Team. I mean,
let me do my last start bench cut to
comment if you think Damian Lillard should be where he should be on the NBA team.
To wrap up this start bench, segment, this is an interesting one.
Okay.
Most valuable player to this team's playoff run.
I was thinking on a similar line, like
Kyrie Irving, James Harden, Kevin Durant.
Wow. I think James Harden is.
I agree with that. Just due to the record,
they're like 18-3.
Yeah.
I think second most valuable is Kevin Durant because even though Kyrie Irving had a sensational season, historic season, really flying under the radar, just given all of his off the court stuff that he deals with or that he brings upon himself. 2 guards is like give me the forward over the guard, the dude that can shoot over everybody. Now will he stay healthy? I don't know, but James Harden I think is the most valuable player on that team. No questions asked.
Interesting. The Nets big 3. It's an interesting one.
Do you think the Nets will make the finals? Get out the East? Win the finals?
There's such an obvious pick. I almost feel like it's Gonzaga in the college in the March Madness. Like there's such an obvious pick that it's not going to happen.
I just had this thing. I really think the Bucks could come. If the Bucks can get by the Heat, I think the Bucks could beat the Nets.
Yeah, the Nets have to by not getting the 1 seed. There's a clear-cut top 3 in the East, and then the rest. But the West is wide open. I mean, the 5 seed is very well the best team in the West, and the Clippers. But
we're not here to talk about the East. We're here to talk about the Blazers, and we've done that. So is there anything else you want to say before we end this?
There's one more thing I want to talk about.
Okay, we can go.
And I was watching this on, I believe it was Get Up this morning.
Get Up.
And it was Jay Williams talking about how Steph Curry should be the MVP because he dragged a team to the 8 seed with no injuries.
I don't want to hear it.
And it's annoying because Damian Lillard does that every year.
It's really annoying. It's really annoying.
The MVP is a narrative. It's a narrative award. And voter fatigue is a thing, so Giannis is not going to win it.
Giannis could very well deserve it.
But that just really irked me this morning because he's like, Steph Curry playing with...
nothing against Steph here.
Nothing. He's had a great season. He's the scoring champ.
He arguably is the most valuable player in the league right now. But
Damian Lillard last year, I mean, I know Dame won...
Did you see his bubble?
Yeah, he won bubble MVP. That's fine. But who won league MVP? Was it...
League MVP was Giannis.
It was Giannis. And Dame was right there, but... they weren't going to give it to him because they were like, Portland's too low of a seed. And it's just really frustrating because, I know Steph is one of the greatest players at his position of all time, greatest shooter of all time. But, I mean, come on. Dame does the same thing every year. We're always injured.
As much as you want to say he's he gets his deserve. Now he's so underrated that people now think he's overrated. The same thing happened with the All-Star starters.
True.
We were the 4 seed at that time. Luka Doncic had the 14th best team in the West. Same numbers. Luka gets it. Where in the past, Dame, the only reason he didn't get it over Luka or say any other guards because we didn't win.
There is a double standard, and that goes back to just the market you play in, and that's another separate topic that we're not going to get into because Portland's a small market. It's fine. How many people watch their games? Us. We watch it, and everyone out west. No one out
east. It makes me want to see Dame win a championship so bad.
It does.
Was talking about it earlier.
Yeah, it does.
I mean, I'll read the quote right now.
Yeah, read the quote.
I can't express my desire and how bad I want to win a championship. Not just to say I won a championship, but I want to do it in this city. I want to have a parade on Broadway.
And there's no one who deserves it more, in my opinion. Damian Lillard has committed to this franchise, and how many times does a small market team have a player of that caliber
that wants to be there,
stay that loyal? I mean, there's always trade talks every year. Dame to the Knicks, Dame to the Lakers. Dame does not need to be in a big market to be one of the best players in the league. But that double standard really frustrates me. And now it's funny that Luka will have the season ended early against LA because they decided to pass the Blazers. So that is our little tangent there. We will be back. Let's come back Wednesday night after the first round playing games.
You could definitely see us. Not sure what we will go in depth with there, but
the play-in games.
We can talk about things other than the Blazers, but it will all relate back to the Blazers in the end. If you're listening to this on Spotify, follow.
Yeah.
Drop us a little 5 stars.
You know it.
If you're listening on YouTube,
yep.
Subscribe and drop a like.
Also,
Let us know and comment that you are here. And comment that you are listening. That you have listened to this far. If you have listened this far, comment. Rip City on the ass.
Rip City on the ass. I remember that when we...
36 minutes in. If you stayed this far, thank you very much.
Or if you want to cheat it and skip to 36, you can do that too.
How are they going to know to skip to 36?
Exactly. Got them.
You get a follow back.
Yeah, you get a follow back. But that is going to be all. We will come back later. Game times or series for the games has not been posted yet. I think it's Saturday.
It might be Sunday. I would expect it's going to be 9 to 10 Eastern time.
But we are embarking on another postseason jersey. We are in Denver. We're on the road. It will be interesting to see. However, I do want to point this out. I know we're going to wrap this up, but I do want to point this out. If the Lakers beat the Suns in the second round, we do have home court. I will say that.
That would be awesome, but I don't want that to happen.
Yeah, I don't know. LA
we'll
home
talk
court.
about that on Wednesday.
Yeah, we'll talk about it on Wednesday, but we are embarking on a new playoff journey. We'll see if Dame can bring that home. I feel good about this year. It could end in round 1. It can end with a championship. That's how wide open the West is, and it's fantastic. It's the first time there hasn't been a super team. I know the Nets are, but they're not even the 1 seed. It would be interesting. But thank you for listening this far. If you have, again, like we said, subscribe, give us a follow.
Comment Rip City on
the ass. Hashtag Rip City on they ass, not on the ass. They ass. It's like how Dame says it. All right, guys. Peace. Rip City Rundown.
Peace.